Oh, Illumination movie news.
The film will arrive on April 3rd, 2026 in the US.
Oh, wow. Only 2 years away. Wow. Oh, Paper Mario. We're not going to see much of it here, though. May 23rd. Yes, dude. So much sooner than I was expecting. June 27th. Okay. Ooh, Mario Golf and Tennis. Coming March 12th. Cool. All right, good morning, everyone. So, yeah, at 6 a.m., Nintendo did post a Mario Day kind of update video. Very weird way to announce these things, but it's kind of cool to see them kind of treating Mario Day as like a bigger event, you know. In years prior, we get like a Switch bundle or like some sort of new accessory, but now we always have like Lego announcements, and now we're even getting release dates for some Mario games on March 10th, which is pretty cool. So we'll talk about everything in here, but also, like I said, talk about what this means for the lineup in general for the Switch this year. So the first thing they announced, Miyamoto was on the screen. They announced that a new Mario movie will be releasing on April 3rd, 2026, which, if I'm not mistaken, is, I think, 3 years exactly to like the day of the first movie releasing. So that's a little bit sooner than I expected. Chris Meledandri came out and said they're getting ready to start animating that movie. So yeah, April 3rd, 2026, that's really exciting. Obviously, the first movie was a massive, massive success. I'll be curious to see what they end up doing with this, because they didn't say it was Super Mario Bros. Movie 2. They just said a new movie set in the Super Mario Bros. Movie world, which is kind of interesting. They didn't want to, like, you know, reveal too much. So maybe it won't be a 2, but maybe it'll be something else entirely. We'll have to wait and see. But then we got the things that we were all waiting for, at least most of us, I think. We got release dates for A Thousand Year Door and Luigi's Mansion 2. So Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door for Nintendo Switch is releasing on May 23rd, 2024, and Luigi's Mansion 2 HD is releasing on June 27th. And real quick before that, they also announced some NSO games coming to Game Boy. So Dr. Mario is coming to the original Game Boy, as well as Mario Tennis and Mario Golf for Game Boy Color on March 12th, which is pretty exciting. Not much to say there, but cool. Still no Mario Land. Not sure what's going on with that game. But yeah, May 23rd and June 27th, those are our release dates, and in my opinion, this is the best case scenario. Now, first of all, I guess there is a little bit of disappointment because we didn't actually see these games, they did not show them, but I would also argue that might be best case scenario too for another reason that we'll get into. But yeah, this is interesting because it paints a very empty picture for the second half of the year. When we heard that the Switch 2 has supposedly been delayed internally, we kind of figured that maybe they would position one of these two Mario remakes as a big holiday game, or at least later in the year, to kind of pad out the release schedule. If there was supposed to be a new console release with a new launch lineup, they would use one of these two games that they have left for the Nintendo Switch as one of their holiday games, or at least a little bit later, like maybe in September or something, we would see one of these games releasing. But no, we're getting them both in the first half, or at least close to in the first half of 2024, which to me, at least on paper, this is the optimist in me, I guess, that to me says they have plenty of stuff releasing in the second half of 2024. Because as it stands, this means we have from January to June, we had another Code, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Princess Peach Showtime, Endless Ocean, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, and Luigi's Mansion 2, which is a cadence of one per month, even though we're going a little bit more because there's nothing in April that we know of. We'll talk about that. So that's 6 games, which isn't that bad. It is a lot of remakes. Let's not be, you know, mistaken here. It's only 2 new games, being Princess Peach Showtime and Endless Ocean Luminous, but still not a bad lineup for a console, probably in its final full year. But I do think it's pretty safe to say if Nintendo didn't have anything else major, in air quotes, for the holidays, they would have pushed at least one of these 2 remakes to that fall season at least. Luigi's Mansion 2, I know they had announced for summer, but if there was truly a void in game releases this holiday season, Luigi's Mansion 2 would have made a lot of sense as a Halloween October game. That's what they did with the remake of the first game on 3DS. That's what they did with Luigi's Mansion 3. It would have made a lot of sense. So that to me says that they have more games coming to the Switch this year, which we already knew, but this means to me that they have at least 1 or 2 more. You know, if we're getting a cadence of 1 per month, I would expect that to continue throughout the rest of the year. Maybe we end the year on, like, you know, 12 first-party Nintendo Switch games released, which isn't, you know, the most, but it's also not the least we've gotten, you know, depending on what year you're looking at. So it's really not that bad. So we'll have to wait and see what those games are. I'm still on the copium that there might actually be a new Pokemon game this year. I could still see, you know, maybe a Mario Sports, Mario Party, Metroid Prime 4 is a big question mark, Fire Emblem 4 Remake. Like, there's still plenty of things that they could surprise us with. Maybe something else entirely, you know, just some random thing like Rhythm Heaven, I don't know. At this point, I can safely say I'm not really that worried about the lineup this year, because I do think they'll have some exciting announcements for us very soon, and that's what I want to talk about next. something very interesting that I was not expecting from this little Mario Day update for these games. We didn't actually get trailers. When Puro tweeted out last week that, you know, we were going to get announcements potentially on Sunday, I was like, okay, cool, we're going to get trailers for these games. If Paper Mario has a brand new expansion, they're going to show that. If Luigi's Mansion 2 has co-op, or maybe they're shadow dropping Luigi's Mansion 1, they're going to show that. But they didn't. All they showed was release dates. It's very weird to get a trailer like this for a Nintendo game where they only show release dates and nothing else. Top that off with the rumors of an April Direct that we've been hearing about for the past month or so, ever since the partner showcase happened. I think that this basically solidifies it. There has to be an April Direct. I understand that Thousand Year Door and Luigi's Mansion 2 are small games because they are old games, but they still have to show them and market them up more than they already have. Both of these games have really only had one trailer each. Luigi's Mansion 2 kind of had two because they teased it last June, but really they only have two trailers right now, and I would imagine there has to be something added to these games. Luigi's Mansion 2 maybe not so much, but Thousand Year Door seems primed for some sort of expansion. So I feel like the fact that they didn't have new trailers to show today means they are saving them for a Nintendo Direct in April. That is what I'm betting on. That is what I'm predicting, and I do think we will get that. And then from there, we'll have to see where the year goes. Maybe they announce the Switch 2 in June. Maybe they announce it later in the summer, like in September or something. I'm not too sure, but I would expect the majority of the Switch's lineup remaining for this year, calendar year 2024, I would expect the remainder of its lineup for this year to be announced in the April Direct, or at least the next Direct they do, but I would expect that to be in April. I mean, they could do trailers on Twitter and YouTube for both of these games beforehand, but I feel like one major Direct in April, that way they can promote Endless Ocean Luminous again in a more major setting, they can promote these two remakes, and then they can announce whatever their big holiday game is for 2024, because we didn't get a Direct in February, or at least not a regular one that announces major first-party games. Shout out to Endless Ocean Luminous, though. I will be playing that. So yeah, to me, seeing that these games are coming out in May and June respectively is literally best case scenario. I was so worried that Thousand Year Door was going to be September or something. I actually predicted that in my Nintendo 2024 predictions video, I think. I was really worried about that. I truly was. So to see them both coming out in the first half of the year, like I said, close to it, with June 27th being the furthest out, that is very exciting to me. Now, something else I do want to say before we end off here, I think I referenced it earlier, and the total number of Switch games releasing this year, I do think if we get an April Direct, there will be some sort of shadow drop. There are actually three options, right? There are actually a couple options here for what they could do. First option being Luigi's Mansion 1. I've been talking about that a lot, and I do think there is a good possibility. I know I'm probably just, I'm in disbelief because I really just want it to happen, because Luigi's Mansion 1 is my favorite game ever made. So I would love to see that happen, and considering that they did it with Pikmin 1 and they did it with Metroid Prime, I feel like porting and dropping Luigi's Mansion 1 in a pretty similar fashion to Pikmin 1 and 2 last year makes a lot of sense. My copium right now is that on Nintendo's press website, we don't have a box art yet for Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, and my idea is that it would kind of be bundled with that, kind of elevate that $60 price tag by including the first game. So that's one option. Another option would be at Metroid Prime 2 and 3, which if Metroid Prime 4 is coming out this year, I feel like, Nintendo, what are you doing? Please just give us those games so we can play them on modern hardware. No one wants to whip out their Wii, man. They don't want to do it. And then the third and final option that I'm kind of thinking of right now would be the fabled Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD ports, which, I don't know. I mean, I feel like there should be something Zelda this year, but maybe they're just going to save up that for next year as a Switch 2 game. I'm not sure. I don't know what's going on with Zelda anymore. The every year pattern was so true for a decade, and now, in 2022 we didn't get a game. It's not looking too great for 2024. I'm not sure what to predict with Zelda anymore. We'll have to wait and see what happens. If we are getting that, Ocarina of Time Lego set in September, I think is the rumored date. I don't know. Maybe they don't need some synergy with Lego sets, but I would expect some sort of maybe smaller Zelda multiplayer game or remake this year. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Are you excited about the release dates for Luigi's Mansion 2 and Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door? Also, are you excited about the new Mario movie they just announced? I mean, that is a really big deal. Arguably, it's not even arguable. That is a much bigger deal than release dates for these old games coming to Switch, but still, pretty nice. Like I said at the top, seeing Mario Day kind of become this bigger event for Nintendo in terms of marketing and announcing things is exciting. So let me know your thoughts on all that in the comments down below. Of course, if you are new here and you enjoy Nintendo Switch discussions, theory, speculation, all of that fun stuff, I would appreciate you subscribing. And until next time, folks, peace.